Mike Mullen from MikeMullen.net. Daytona, Wednesday. Got the Daytona notebook right here. Trucks in the background over at Daytona International Speedway, getting ready for Friday's race. Danica's already had her practice session for Saturday's race in the Danica series, as some wags are putting it. She was 26th fastest in nationwide practice for the 300. Tony Stewart led the way. A lot of big guns in that field. A lot of big Sprint Cup guns in that field. She's going to get a workout. 26th fastest, not too bad. Looked really good in the ARCA race. We'll see what you can do against the big guys. Today, a lot of talk. A lot of talk from TV guys. Fox's David Hill, he's optimistic about a ratings boost for NASCAR this year. Says you saw the Super Bowl and his ad sales are up. He likes what he sees. He says NASCAR's due to a turnaround right now. ESPN's Rich Feinberg, who used to work in the R&D department over at ABC, checking out all this stuff, says ratings, he's not even going to start to go there. He says that's a career ender when you start trying to predict what ratings are going to be for anything. The ratings for Saturday night's shootout, excellent. They beat the competition. Fox did. Prime time, 2 hours out of a 3-hour prime time slot. They had twice as many viewers as anybody else. But the numbers still looked a little screwy. I know Saturday night's kind of slow for TV, but I would have thought more than 7.5 or 8 million people would have been watching the race, especially with the snowed in East Coast. We're going to have to check on some of that stuff and see what we can really come up with. Greg Biffle, he finally talked a little bit. It wasn't a flat tire. He said he just didn't know what the videotape replay was going to show, so he didn't want to say too much Saturday night. Well, he talked today, and he's blaming Jeff Gordon, flat out. Hey, went into the corner, got it from behind. Jeff Gordon says that's the way the action's going to be. NASCAR wants contact, it's going to get contact. Maybe a little too much. Today in practice, Jimmie Johnson caught up in a crash, had to go to a backup. Half a dozen guys had to go to backups. A lot of crashes. David Reutemann, Clint Boyer to a backup. It could be kind of tough. Not in the 150s necessarily. There are only about 3 or 4 spots really up for grabs among the 15 guys that are going to either make it or not. But in the 500, Jeff Gordon seemed to be putting on his Dale Earnhardt Sr. face and saying, almost warning his rivals that it's going to be a rough race. Okay, good. And the big news of the day wasn't Danica, it was NASCAR. The green-white checkered rule, the 2-lap shootout they've been using the last couple of years. They didn't like the way it turned out Saturday night in the shootout. They ran the last lap and a half under yellow, basically. So they're thinking about tweaking it, beginning with the 150s on Thursday. The way it looks now, you've got to take the green and white together. So if you crash, if there's a caution, before the leader gets to the white flag, they're going to do it again, and again, and again. Or at least that's what they're thinking right now. I'm not sure how that's going to work out. But I think, from what the drivers are saying, it means a lot more crashing. And they're already crashing right and left. The Ford guys, they're using the FR9 in Thursday's 150s across the board. In the 500, they go back to the old engine. Now, let's see how the FR9 did in qualifying. Not so well. But in the race, in the shootout, Greg Biffle with the old engine had a shot to win. Casey Kane finished second with the old engine. Let's see what they can do in the 150s. The Danica series, nationwide side, 184 miles an hour for Tony Stewart, fastest of the day. And I'm thinking that she's going to be a winner for the first couple of weeks at least. The guys are probably going to leave her alone. She's got some Hendrick horsepower, though. You might want to take in behind her and see where she's going to go with that. To the outside, I would think. But one driver who's getting a little irritated, a lot of drivers are getting a little irritated with the attention that Danica's getting from the media. One driver said maybe ESPN, which is carrying the nationwide series, should just put ESPN cameras on Danica the whole race, and ESPN2 to cover everybody else in the field. Getting a little edgy over there. Getting a little edgy during SpeedWeeks. We'll see what happens in the 150s. Mike Mullen from MikeMullen.net. Wednesday, Daytona, SpeedWeeks.